terms, the best way to cash flow. The properties I'm looking at right now are in Amador County, and they'll buy a long-term rental because I'll have enough in the rehab to be able to have about $60,000 in equity, and it's two houses on one property. And it's an hour and a half away from me. All my guys, we have trailers and stuff that we can all go up there and get it rehabbed in a month. So that's the plan right now. And then I'm trying to get systems in place for Gary to do the same type of thing. I want to fly out there. I want to work with a couple local contractors, get a team together so I can get multiple places.
Yeah, that's exciting. So you offer, if you don't mind sharing the numbers.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, so they're asking 179. I offered 129. Like I said, it's got some issues. One of them is just totally, it's got to be gut down to the studs and probably a new roof. The other one I'm thinking it's probably got a little bit of foundation issues. It's a 1950 property. I don't have a problem with foundation issues. I can jack up the house if I need to. But if they give me anywhere close to that price, I should come out of it with about 75,000 total between the two houses in profit, and then be able to refinance it in a couple months and get all my money back. And then I'll have a rental that'll come out about between the two properties, 600 a month cash flow. So hopefully it works out, crossing my fingers, because this will be my first one.
Right. And at what number do you feel like it's going to be come back as an offer? Because
I think they'll probably try to split it in half, which I will not go for. If they tried to do, I would go another 10,000 more. And if they try to go higher than that, I'm going to tell them, then you get an engineer out there and tell me that foundation is in good shape. Because that's the key. The rehab's nothing for me. Foundation's a little bit more.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm excited for you, Jim. You're doing the thing.
Yeah, no, I've got two others, but they're foreclosures, and I know how long foreclosures will take. So I'm trying to do the same thing on two other properties, but foreclosure could take anywhere between 6 and 9 months to get it to close. I'm looking for very kind of like what Gary is. That's what I'm looking for. And,
so add value.
And yes, I am a contractor.
Yeah. What are you working on, Aaron, right now?
For me?
Oh, Aaron. Okay.
Let's see. So I posted about this a week ago or so, but my wife and I are shifting into residential assisted living here in Houston where we live. So right now we live in Houston, but all of our rentals, our closest one is 1,000 miles away in Iowa. And we have 3 there, 2 in Washington State and 3 in Las Vegas. And so the only house we own here in Houston is our primary. It's not a great market for like cash flow investing. It's not a high appreciation market. So we're actually really glad we built the muscle of out-of-state investing so that we could access kind of more favorable markets. But we're doing a development project here in Houston area. We're going to be building an assisted living home. And this was kind of a pretty recent development because my wife, we had to choose if she was going to go back after we had our twins about a year, November 2023. She had a choice of like whether she wanted to go back to W-2 work or whether we wanted to try and do something full-time real estate. So it's a pretty hefty project. Like we're taking raw land and developing it. We're going to build a 10,000 square foot house on it and then run the business once it's open. So that's kind of where all of our eggs are in 2025. Actually, we are probably going to exit the Iowa market that we're in. Not because it doesn't work or that's a bad market per se, more just repositioning some of that money. Because we bought everything, we didn't do we didn't cycle the cash or anything. So we have a lot of money parked in those deals. And we would likely want to reinvest that into our assisted living home, since that's going to be a pretty capital intensive project. I saw Anna message me and asking where in Washington do I invest and how's the cash flow? Happy to answer that real quick. So we invest in Central Washington, So King County, where Seattle's located, is notoriously unaffordable and also extremely tenant friendly. And I got no problem taking care of tenants. I think we all have a responsibility to, provide responsible management and oversight of our properties and good conditions, and generally speaking, keep our tenants happy. But the extreme nature of the landlord-tenant laws in Washington are quite prohibitive, right? I know several people who have had 6 month long eviction processes that cost them, $10,000 plus dollars. You get great appreciation, but it's very hard to find anything that cash flows. Even in Central Washington, where we are, it's getting expensive because a lot of people are relocating from Seattle towards the other side of the mountains it's a really beautiful part of the state. So we do have pretty good cash flow on the two properties we have there. But it's one of those things where 5 years ago, before COVID, it was a well-kept secret, and then with the remote work trends, now people are relocating over to that area. So that's what I got cooking.
And Anna, are you from Washington?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button.
That's
But
okay.
I'm investing in. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm in Washington, Western Washington, but I'm investing in Alabama market, Florence, Alabama. I do have a rental in Washington, just one rental that I bought a long time ago, but I am investing out of state, and that's where I'm really looking.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to make anything work in Washington. And even if you can find one, it takes so much capital, right? It's hard to build a large portfolio if that's your goal, right? I mean, obviously we're all in one rental at a
Yeah,
time, so I don't think we're all gunning for 100 doors or anything like that. But yeah, it's just kind of hard to make stuff make sense in Western Washington.
yeah. I have 3 single family homes in northwest corner of Alabama, and I have a duplex in Washington. But duplex I bought like 2012, and when the price went down, after the Great Recession, so it makes sense now. But if I try to replicate, it's just not going to happen. Or my small capital is it's going to be very difficult. It could still cash flow, but I would have to, it's going to take a lot of work to make it. And it just it doesn't really make sense because I have a W-2. The Alabama market, it's good, but I have everything by property management company, so I'm learning to manage companies. That's my challenge right there. But yeah, maybe I am almost retiring, so I would like to have maybe 1 or 2 more somewhere remote, maybe closer to where I'm at in Florence, Alabama. I'm looking to buy 1 or 2 in maybe Huntsville or maybe North Tennessee, which is Florence is right at the border of Tennessee. So right there, maybe, but it's very tricky. I'm monitoring the local market there, southern states economy, kind of when somebody sneezes, the whole state coughs kind of stuff. So I'm learning.
Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else? I think Scott, you're also new to me. Do you want to share where you're investing?
Yeah, so kind of so I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. I was fortunate enough to pick up some houses kind of in 2010 period. So kind of over time have been kind of moving that capital out of state. So currently have some houses in kind of Memphis area and then some in Charlotte. Looking at kind of the population and growth numbers of Memphis, looking at kind of moving some of that capital to somewhere else in the United States. Turns out that kind of Memphis's population is pretty stagnant, which means that it's actually not growing as fast as the rest of the United States. So I tend to like markets where I can kind of buy in, the classic path of progress, ignore it for 5 years and then come back. And I'm not seeing, a while ago, I could see that in Memphis, but then Memphis is Memphis. So looking at other possibilities around the US is kind of where I'm at.
Nice. And how did you end up in Memphis, Tennessee?
Cash flow initially, like most people. But then through, my own analysis and kind of listening to other people that, basically about 80% of my returns were actually coming in from equity. That, to a certain extent with that, you could kind of say the house is empty, could be empty, and I would still get 80% of my investment return, which is kind of scary. If you can just kind of sit back and in essence do nothing and get 80% of the return. So I'm looking at, the initial kind of hypothesis of cash flow was nice, but then in retrospect and taking a look at data analysis, and there's a lot of people who I think are kind of in this ballpark where if you look back over 5 to 10 years, most of the wealth effect, however you want to define that, has been from the appreciation. For example, I have some houses kind of in a suburb of Charlotte where, you pick them up for 150K, rent them out for, 1,500 a month, and it's appreciating at $1,000 a month. And you're going, hold on. Just by being completely passive, I can pocket $1,000 a month. So I guess I like that play on it a little bit more, and kind of suits my investment style a little bit more. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So you're in the search of a market where you have more appreciation?
Yeah. In my typical, what I kind of look for is, satellite cities where I can get reasonable cash flow. And as long as the city is adding jobs and population, they're just somewhat a matter of time before those values go up. And that kind of the situation, like I kind of know around Charlotte, new construction costs are about $200 a square foot. You can kind of buy stuff off in the suburbs for $130 to $150 a square foot. So kind of as new folks move into the area, if they're trying to get a foothold, that 150 will creep up to 200. Just because of the market forces. If somebody wants into the market, they'll take a 1960 house with some warts on it in order to get into the market. Is kind of the niche. And obviously I didn't invent this method. I've just been copying other people.
Yeah, I recently heard a podcast with Very Good Buckets in which they mentioned Charlotte as one of the most promising cities for appreciation. it was Northwest Arkansas, Charlotte. They mentioned Indianapolis, but they had like an argument about how that market really doesn't hold appreciation that much.
Hmm.
But Charlotte, they agree unanimously that it's a good market to grow into.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking for other markets kind of like Charlotte so that I can get some diversification in the portfolio. So I'm probably kind of on the other end, more towards Zuber's end of things. Of I don't have a W-2. So semi-retired and kind of do rehabs out of fun rather than out of kind of need.
Scott, I have a
So,
I have a question for you if you don't mind.
yeah, no worries.
You mentioned that you originally entered Memphis, looking for cash flow. That was the primary objective. And then kind of now with the benefit of hindsight, you see that the majority of your wealth was built through appreciation. Super common thing that I've heard in conversations I've had with investors over time. But would you do anything differently with the benefit of that hindsight if you were starting over?
Yeah, I would have initially looked for towns. Uh, I'm a fairly analytical person, so I would have spent more time looking at the analytics of towns growing, towns in neighborhoods that are likely to gentrify. So the way I look at it is I'm a remote investor, so I have to play the card which is in my hand as an advantage. So I can't go to the local Starbucks, huge disadvantage. But I have the advantage of being able to look at data, which somebody down at the local Starbucks probably won't go and pull data and look at it. So I would have, in hindsight, would have leaned more on analytics more than the average person because I'm an engineer, good or bad. I'm an introverted data nerd. I should have played that card more. uh, that's my only, but it is the other thing that I kind of realized in Memphis. I Some of the properties I picked up were in better neighborhoods. So this was coming out of the GFC. So I could pick up houses for $50 a square foot. So it's like, well, I don't really want to go into the bad parts of Memphis. So I picked up some houses in a better part of Memphis. And then what I realized is actually, the logic was, well, I could just ignore these things for 5 to 10 years and get on with my life. And in retrospect, what happened is the good neighborhood slipped down just a little notch uh, because it was good. So it's one of these things. If you're the champion, there's only one place to go. So I doubt I'll be buying in kind of good neighborhoods in the future just because of, generally they've already appreciated.
Unless you get the worst house in the best neighborhood, right? That's the
Yeah.
ideal situation.
Yep. Yep.
Easier said than done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And Scott, are
The,
you using property managers or are you self-managing?
the ones out of state I use a property manager for. Uh, and I suspect it's kind of like most property managers. They're average, but even average is, not desirable. Uh, the ones local I manage, uh, I somewhat use the management as, a way to keep my hands involved, but then also uh, gives me a workout when there's something to be done. So, rather than going to the gym, I'll, put on a new roof or whatever. But the ones out of state allow me to kind of scale things up, where the ones local are more, I think what Tim Ferriss calls a ruse or a muse. I guess a muse is the right term for it. Keeps me out of my wife's hair. So
Awesome.
if people are, and tell me if somebody wants to jump in. One thing I've kind of noticed in the South, that if somebody in, this will kind of be the route that I go down, is for good or bad, the United States history, it has done what's known as redlining of cities, which was where the federal government literally put down a map and said, we're not going to offer loans in these areas. It kind of sounds neutral, but they basically targeted African American neighborhoods. And so what happened, and there are cities, and Charlotte's one of them, where half the city is black, half the city is white. And then so kind of now there's more of a gentrification wave in those sections that were redlined.
Yeah, I think we're all trying to understand what kind of challenges what you're facing, but now that you explained it, Scott, it seems like it's more you're looking for an opportunity rather than looking at
Right.
a challenge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
No,
no, for me, it's the, because I've seen it in the Bay Area where there was a really poor area, basically really close to Stanford University. And, over time, that really poor area, and to give you an idea, it was like one of the murder capitals of California. But over time, because it was so close to money, it has gotten gentrified.
That Oakland.
No, it's something called East Palo Alto.
Oh, okay.
If you're on a map, if you have Google up, just search East Palo Alto. It's the classic, city right across the freeway, where you have, $5 million homes on one side of the freeway and $500,000 homes. Order of magnitude price differential over a freeway. So it's like, well, it's just a matter of time for things to change. Mhm.
I'm not really concerned about the racial neighborhoods or anything. I'm more concerned about instability of the southern states economy, especially like Alabama. I don't know, but Memphis is a pretty strong market. I would do that, like a what is that, Casey from Bricks and Brick by Brick. She also chooses markets in Memphis pretty carefully, and I would totally agree with that. But for the market that I'm in, northern Alabama, it's just when somebody sneezes, the whole state sneezes, kind of. So I'm I am probably more toward instead of a peaceful, nice market where I'm at, but I'm probably gonna try to get a little bit bigger city. So that's all I was interested in, Scott. So anyhow.
Yeah, and I kind of start the research, excuse me, by looking at population growth and job growth. Because I kind of know that with those, good things happen. It also kind of, there's this also a kind of a psychological effect that I haven't really been able to point my finger on. you know, being in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, I'm used to people being open-minded. And so with that open-mindedness kind of comes, my opinion is change, where, you know, when I did a visit to Charlotte, I could have a conversation with people when they were open for conversations and open for change. And I think that then reflects into the job growth numbers, where if I go into Memphis, it's a conversation of, well, that's the way we've done it for 100 years. Like, okay. So, you know, I think that the towns that are growing actually have a mental leg up also compared to the ones that aren't. And that's one where I haven't been able to put my finger on exactly what that mentality is, and how to, even better is to, yeah, put a numeric around how mentally open are people to change.
Yeah, I think everything that you're talking about is trying to align with the goal that you have, which is finding a market that is going to appreciate, right? And finding that diamond in the haystack of which one is going to come up next in the next 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at so many factors that we're not even thinking about when most of us, like, we go out of state because of the cash flow, because we're being priced out of like our current neighborhoods. And I think you're looking at a little bit more like super macro, like looking
Yep.
at all the factors, social, job, and even mindset you're looking at psychologically. So that's interesting to hear your perspective.
Yeah, because it's like I kind of realized the United States is very big. It might sound strange, which also means that there's, you know, a huge number of potential markets to invest in. And so, you know, I don't know, let's just say there's 5,000 markets. How do I whittle down those 5,000 to, say, 3 that I can be ultra selective on some criteria?
Yeah.
Because because the United States is so large. No, so, and that's kind of why I go out of state too. Same thing. You know, but the stuff in Charlotte probably still makes sense, you know, of, you know, 150K house and rent it out for 1,200. It's not stellar numbers, but it's also probably not stinky numbers either.
Mhm. Awesome. Is everybody facing with challenges this week or want to share any wins? Or have any questions?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Siley. This is the first time I'm attending this call.
Welcome.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how this goes, but my question is a little bit off topic, not related to market selection or anything. I posted my question yesterday. I think, Lindsay, you answered that, replied to that question. This is regarding the rehab project. So I'm closing on a deal by next week, and that house needs a lot of work. And I want to try to manage it myself. I can always hire a GC and get the work done, but that's too expensive. So this time I want to try my own way, but I'm not sure how to manage remotely. So I wanted to ask question everybody else, how do they manage any rehab work? And it's a huge undertaking. And it needs new bathroom, new kitchen, new floors, painting, and some other things. Um, so I was looking for some guidance in regards to the uh, work.
Okay. A couple of questions first. Is this your first project out of state that you're managing rehab for?
No, I have done two before, but I hired a GC for that, and the PM was just overlooking the GC work. But that tends to be very costly. And then there are a couple of other things that I did that from my property manager managed it, but it was like minimal work, just painting or one or two things. So the property manager could do that. This time it's a big work, and then he just simply doesn't have time to chase all different trades and manage. So he said that no, he cannot take this right now.
And you have construction knowledge that you will be able to pinpoint, let's say room by room, hey, blinds are broken here, outlets are not working here, like plumbing.
Yeah, I'm planning to visit the site next week after closing, and then I can do the scope of work definitely, and my PM can help me with that. So I can list down all the work that is needed, and I have some vision how I want that house to be. So that paperwork, like on the paper, I can list out all these things. That much, but other than that, I don't have any knowledge at all. I don't know which one should go first, a painter should go first, or floor guy should go first. That kind of detail I don't know.
Well, we're gonna enroll Jim in this conversation because he's a contractor.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I was actually looking at properties in Greenville.
Saley has some experience rehabbing a project with the contractor and a property manager out of state. But now she wants to dive in self-contracting. For example, she managing the project and subcontracting trades.
It's difficult
She's not,
to do
yeah.
long distance. That's because I'm actually looking at possibly becoming a contractor in South Carolina and even Indiana. Because it's just easier that way. I can manage it. Then I'm legal. I have insurance, everything else. You can do. I haven't looked into it all completely, but you can do owner builder type things and stuff like that. But I haven't looked into it fully. It is difficult. You have to have somebody on boots on ground, just like Vincent has his somebody that his relation there. If you don't have boots on ground, it's gonna be difficult. Pictures, I mean, with technology now, go through video, everything. I have 360 cameras and everything else. Get somebody that has all those cameras so you can really get into the walls, make sure nothing is covered up before you see it. I would highly recommend making a flight out. If you're tearing down the stud, make a flight out before you cover up walls. That's a big one. Because the finishes are one thing, but making sure all that plumbing, electrical, HVAC, everything else is correct is a big deal. That's my 2 cents. But I plan on being heavily involved when I do go out of state, at least for the first couple, to make sure the contractor and me jive. Because you can get burned really fast.
Yeah, I'm planning to go fly out there, but I can only go just once or twice.
Right.
So I definitely need somebody to manage. I can contact different like electrician flow. I have those people in my contact list, but I don't have anybody who can like overlook them or manage them. So then my only option is I need to hire a general contractor, and they charge a lot, I
Yes.
feel. Yeah.
Well, one thing you could do too is you could do a home inspector. So you can pay him a couple $100 to come by and do weekly reports or something like that. I don't know what it'll cost, but that would be a good idea. Just something because they're going to know roughly what to look at. And it would be a good supplement to what they normally get. That's one thing I'd look into possibly because you're not actually looking for them to do a home inspection so they don't have to go under their E&O insurance, all that other stuff. You're just trying to have them come by and do some quick inspections, some pictures, and some of their recommendations of what they should look at. That's
Okay.
one avenue to go through.
Okay. Is there any book or something, some resource where I will get more knowledge on the construction?
Google, YouTube. Yeah, doing it. I've been doing this for 30 years. I learn something new every single day.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's being in it. It's being in the weeds.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's tough. You got to make sure inside the walls is the biggest. Cabinets, flooring, all that paint, you can redo all that stuff. But just if you have a leak because somebody did something improperly, that's brutal. You have a fire because somebody did something improperly, that's yeah. And the permits are a big one too. Pull permits.
Mhm.
Because insurance companies, you might be void because you didn't pull that permit.
Mhm.
Oh, don't try to escape that part of it for sure. Depending on
Yes.
jurisdictions, obviously, because not all jurisdictions have permitting.
Yes, actually, I have the basement there, and the bath. They have built a bathroom. The owner built the bathroom, and it is like odd space. It's not, definitely they didn't put the pull the permits for it. So
Right.
I need to go and find a plumber who can pull the permit and change the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah, I've always found it's easier to start over than it is to try to fix something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It saves time and money.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, as general knowledge of construction, just because I'm a girl and I don't know, would you say that a house on the stats, would you start with plumbing, then electrical, then insulation, then
Are you talking about order of
drywall?
operations?
Hmm?
Are you talking about the order of the remodel
Right.
or build? It's the order. You're gonna. Okay, let's say I'm gonna get down to stud. So I'm gonna tear everything out all the way down to stud. Then I'm gonna do my what's called rough work. Your rough plumbing, your rough electrical, your rough HVAC. Then you're going to get your inspections for all that rough and any minor structural changes or anything like that. Interior walls don't necessarily matter because those are usually just partition walls, so there's no real structure. So then you're going to then also roofing and stuff like that. Then you get your inspections for there, and then you insulate, then your drywall, then you paint, then you do your finishes. So all of your finished electrical, your finished plumbing, your tubs done in rough, but then all your cabinetry, and then your finished plumbing, all that stuff, then your flooring. That's a pretty order. I'm actually working on all that type of stuff right now. I have it all for my normal business, but yeah, that's rough order. And
Yeah.
I'll get something together and send it to you.
Awesome. Yeah, my rough understanding also is plumbing and electrical gets done first.
Yes, correct.
And then any kind of insulation or drywall comes after.
Correct.
And then you have your rough, like
Yes.
cabinetry,
Yeah.
recessed lighting, finishes, like outlets. And then we have the more like extensive finishes, like flooring would be one of the last things.
Almost very last because you don't want to get damaged.
Yeah. Hope that helps, Saley.
I would also just toss in foundation work
Yes, please. Yeah,
somewhere on the earlier side.
yeah.
Hopefully your
That's
house doesn't have foundation problems.
well, that's the first thing you want to check. You want to definitely get into that before you do any of the other stuff.
Yeah, I have done the inspection, so I kind of know what what all the things I need. Mostly it's cosmetic, but then there is a question about electricals. So electrical panel it is fairly new, but it doesn't have any additional whatever you say, the points or something. And if I want to do the kitchen, I might need more points in kitchen, so I might need to change the electrical panel. That's
Not
what I
necessarily.
understood. Not
Not
necessarily.
necessarily. Depending on the size of the panel, you can add a sub panel.
Oh, okay. Sub
Depends on
panel.
the age and everything, the age and the size of the panel. If it's a
Mhm.
200 amp panel, no problem. You can add a 100 amp sub panel somewhere in the property.
Oh, okay.
If it's 125, you're pushing it. That's just too small.
Okay.
California has a lot more regulations than a lot of other places. When you start getting into arc fault and everything else, it requires a lot more space, and that becomes an issue. Almost every remodel we do on a kitchen or a bath, we either have to add a panel, especially on a kitchen, we have to add a panel. because it won't, the arc faults will not fit in the main panel, just not enough room.
Yeah, but that's good to know. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I had thought I had to do whole electrical again or something. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome, Saley. Where is your house you're closing on next week?
It's in Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah.
So basements in cold weather.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a nice place. I have 7 properties there, not in the Detroit, like proper Detroit. It is the surrounding suburbs. They are kind of A class, B class suburbs.
Yeah, one thing with colder weather is you worry about your vapor barriers, because that's a big deal. I don't have to worry about it as much in California, but colder weathers, you can have a lot of moisture issues inside walls if those vapor barriers are not done correctly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Where in
Thank you,
Michigan
Lindsay.
specifically, Saley?
In Oakland County. Now this one is in Madison Heights,
Gotcha.
but I
Thank you.
have in Royal Oak and um, Westland, Redford.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if this is going to be cost efficient, but I recently hired a contractor, and instead of paying for everything and like have my whole budget be materials and labor, I decided to take on labor. I'm sorry, I decided to take on materials myself. So for everything that he buys, I'll just charge it to a Home Depot account, and then he only charges me for the labor. At the end of the day, I'm not sure if it's going to be a little bit more budget friendly for me, because it's creeping up there now. But that would be another way in which you can, I guess, bet contractors on like how much they're charging for labor per trade.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
As a contractor, I wouldn't let that happen because I don't have time for that. I need to know that I can keep my project going on a timely fashion. And if I'm waiting for you to get the materials for me, I'm not getting my job done. But then again, I do everything. I do my own electrical, my own plumbing, my own framing, my own everything. So if I'm waiting, I can't do that. I've got people waiting to do work. So I go every day. I'm at the store. Every afternoon, I'm at the store getting stuff ready for the next day or that evening. I try not to leave the job site as little as possible. But yeah, I have to have my product and stuff. There are certain things I'll have you get for sure, and I would give allowances for certain things, so you know what's going on. But yeah, I need to be in control, or the production's not going to be there, and that's not good for either one of us. So just my input, because I've heard that before, and I see that as in my opinion, it's going to be a scheduling issue. So just something to think about.
Yeah, I think it may be a little more doable because she's saying her scope of works are mostly cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
And the only big thing she has is the electrical panel that she's questioning. So maybe.
Yeah, but if you're short on material, let's say you're short on flooring,
Mhm.
that could take you 2-3 weeks to get that flooring, depending on where you're getting it. Now, if you're getting a depot, that's not a story. I'm a dealer for all kinds of things, so I need to get it and get it ordered. I'm ordering doors for new cabinets for keeping the face frames, repainting them. That takes 2 to 3 weeks to get. If it's ordered incorrectly, somebody gives me the wrong dimension or the wrong thing, it doesn't work. It just causes delays, and delays cost everybody money.
So some middle ground to at least keep a check on things is when you get a bid from a contractor, have them line item materials different from labor.
Yes.
Most contractors will try to roll up everything to say, I'll build a house for $300,000, $300,000. That's like, no, that way it's easier for you to back out. Okay, this hot water heater, they're charging, because you can look up the cost of a hot water heater from Home Depot, and then you can back out. But
I do separate the labor and the materials, but I do not do a line item per material. Because what happens is one thing
Yeah.
might be a little bit more than another, and it all evens out at the end. So I do it.
No, I get it, but at least get some chunking
Yes, correct.
of,
Especially
know,
now. Materials are-
painting to make sure that you're not completely getting ripped off.
Yes, absolutely. And get multiple estimates for sure. Do not just go with one.
Right. But
And
yes,
kind of what I've found is the contractor who doesn't want to break things out is looking for the rookie investor. There's a certain sophistication that I've kind of found.
Yeah, there is for contractors, there's a big time input in doing a job, doing an estimate, and we don't get paid for that typically. So I've done 3 whole house estimates lately. Those are 15, 20 hours a pop. Didn't get paid for any of them. So there's a big investment for my company to be able to do that estimate. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Sometimes if you want a really detailed item, say, hey, I'll pay you $500 to give me it all detailed. They'll do that, no problem, because they're getting paid for their time. But if you want just sheer numbers, they're going to go through as quick as they can, and they'll pad things to be able to make sure that they're not going to. Because we don't want, neither one of us want to get burned. We don't want to lose money. You don't want to spend too much, but we have to take our time. Our time's valuable.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. Like, because I do get estimates quite often, and I do have heard from contractors like point blank, I'm not gonna line up what I'm gonna do in terms of materials. I'm not gonna give you a price exactly of like what I'm gonna buy, and then like obviously somebody doesn't come from construction. I'm like, okay, well, that makes no sense to me because I'm trying to hire you. But at the same time, I know it takes time with them to do that, to have a lined out, completely budget out of them. But I guess that's when it comes to like trying to get the best match for you, as well as keeping something in budget, to incentivize a contractor to do that type of work for some amount of money.
And so when you're getting those 3 estimates, find out who you're going to gel with the best, get those rough numbers from people, and then say, hey, I'd like to get some more detailed numbers. What if I give you a couple $100 to give me some more detailed numbers on that person you think you're going to jive with more? They'll definitely be responding to that, because then they're not out more time. They have more potential. They already know they're in the running for that project.
Hey, Jim.
Yes.
Sorry. How much did you say? Couple $100? Would that be enough, or all depends?
It depends on project size. If you're talking a whole house reno, it's going to take 10, 20 hours to do it. If you're talking just interior finishes, it's only going to take a few hours. Get those rough numbers. And the biggest thing is, one thing you do have to do is you got to tell that contractor what quality you're looking for. If you have an idea of materials you want to use or generally use for flooring, lighting, plumbing fixtures, that type of thing, then you need to make sure you tell them what quality. Like I won't use off brands. I've seen all kinds of things. I'll stick with the Delta. I'm not a fan of Price Fisher. I'm not a fan of Moen, but I want something I can get parts for, because ultimately the contractor's responsible. They're liable. If it's something I can't take care of, I'm not putting it in. I won't do the job. I'll walk away. So that's the biggest thing. Everyone doesn't understand. We have liability, and we're the only ones who do. The building department doesn't have liability. The contractor does.
I have one question about the flooring. This house has the hardwood floor, but it looks damaged. There are a lot of stains, maybe pet urine or something. What is the best way to do that? Should I try to refinish the hardwood, or should I put the LVP or something on top?
Talk to your local flooring contractors, because every jurisdiction is different. What I would charge in California is a lot different than somebody's going to charge there. Labor rates are a lot cheaper. Doing a sand and fish and a pet deodorizer is not that hard to do. So, and then what you do is you stain it a little bit darker to get rid of those spots.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're in decent shape and they can be repaired, I would definitely do that.
Okay.
I'm with Jim there. Like if it's hardwood floorings and then it's not severely damaged, then I would refinish them.
Yeah. I'm going to see next week how it will go.
So also kind of when you're shopping around for contractors or people to do things, there's kind of a class of contractor out there who just does bids for rehabs. And so to a certain extent, you can go in there and you can say, hey, I want a Big Mac. And so they have their systems set up in order to do rehabs, which is good and bad. Good because you get to use their system for, okay, here's the quality mark that they will take a house to. They normally have it dialed in, but if you want a special paint color, you're not gonna, it's outside of their normal thing. So it kind of gets around to the, shopping around for contractors or whoever's going to do it.
Yeah, I typically do not do that type of rehab work. I do higher end remodels, kitchen, bath primarily. So yeah, very good point. So you're gonna get, there's a construction pyramid. You have price, you have quality, then you have time. If you want fast, you're gonna pay more. If you want higher quality, you're gonna pay more. It's a circle. And there are definitely seasons. Right now, people are hungry because there's not as much work going on. Certain people are not, others are. I'm booked up for 3 months, and then I'm trying to do a full rehab in March. So we'll see where that time comes from. But you always find people that will need work, and if they're too busy, I've seen this. It will get priced up because they don't need the work, and if they're going to try to push it into their time frame, they want to be able to get paid for it. So once again, get multiple estimates.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all. They're all great pointers. I'll try to follow all of them.
Yeah, and you can reach out. I mean, we're here every Friday, but you can reach out over chat or private message. So,
Sure. Thank you.
does anybody else want to share a question, a win, or a challenge that they're facing?
I'm looking at a comment from Anna saying GC ghosted. I've been there. I've been so busy working 14, 16-hour days. We just haven't had time. And the easiest thing to do is just send them a text saying, hey, if you don't have time, just let me know. That's the easiest way. Because a lot of times, oh man, we'll get to them. But life happens. We just got so much going on. We just don't remember it. And then you feel like, hey, we're not paying attention to you. Well, we have so much going on too. So just listen to mention. If you can't do it, just let me know that. And that's a quick text from that contractor. Hey, I just don't have time.
Yeah, and that's a challenge that I face, right? Like if you're waiting for a good contractor and they're really have, like you said, booked for the next 3 months, and like I have to look for somebody else. And then usually the people that like able to start like this, then that means they don't really have a lot of jobs
Yes.
going on. Oh, financial firefighter just joined.
He's always late to the party.
Here comes trouble. Yes, who is going to Vegas from here?
I am. I'll be on Friday night.
Me too.
I'm coming in.
I know Mark is also coming, so Mikey's coming. That should be your tagline, Mark. Here comes trouble at the biggest convention.
I hope for the Denny's meetup, they rotate because the last time it was all split up, and then I wish I could hear all the conversations going on. So that's one thing I hope is they like rotate so that all the Avengers can kind of be at different spots on a rotation kind of style.
I love how you call them the Avengers.
I wasn't there last year. I only found out of one adult time, maybe towards the end of the year, September. But I'm not gonna be able to make it to the Dennis meetups because they start, I think, Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday. We're trying to get one together through Frank's group for Friday night. We're trying to do another one. We've got a WhatsApp link from that group. So if anybody wants to do that, if you I'll put my email down and I'll try to get you added to the that link. I don't know that much about WhatsApp.
Might be a little bit hard because it's Valentine's Day. All right. I don't know if I told everybody, but Vincent couldn't be here today because he had a family emergency. So he will be there at the conference next week. So you'll get to meet him in person. He sends his apologies. And also one more announcement. Next week, we will not have the online call for out-of-state investing since we're going to be in Vegas. I will publish that on the school website as well. Is that where you guys gonna show up? A better bar and kitchen for the
Better
meeting?
bath,
Oh.
a better bath and kitchen. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll try to make it if it's, I don't know if it's past midnight, but
Yeah, no, I get in at 6, and I don't know what time everyone's planning on trying to do something, but I know they're trying to work it out.
yes. Does anybody else have a question about out-of-state investing or want to connect with other people here? No.
Yeah, if anybody wants to contact me, has a question, whatever else, just email me. I'll throw my phone number in too. I have no problem doing it. Just make sure if I don't answer, tell me who you are, because I get a lot of calls from a lot of different stuff. But I don't have a problem answering any kind of questions. People have helped me so much over the years, I don't mind helping back.
Jim, where exactly do you work? Which area?
Me?
Mhm.
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Sacramento. Okay. I live in Hayward. I've been thinking about doing some investment locally, but
Yeah,
haven't.
California's been difficult. The only things I've been able to find are really beat up properties.
Mhm.
And even those are tough to get to cash flow. That's why California, I've been looking at possible short-term rentals, because California is it's hard.
Yeah, I'm seeing one house completely burned down just down the street in Union City. You know Union City?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
getting into something like that, now you're getting into massive permit issues. Depending on how bad it is, it's a whole nother animal. On a burn, flood's easier than a burn. Burn, you're getting into structure changes. Floods, you're not. Floods, you're actually cleaning everything up, then you're putting everything back, as long as it doesn't sit for years. But a burn, that's major structure.
mhm.
I think there was a new member that joined recently last week that had a fire burned down house in Altadena, Los Angeles
correct.
County, and she was discussing how she could rebuild
Right.
the leftover money. And I think, I mean, it would be a great play long term, but I do agree with you, like the permitting would be years and the
Oh, yeah. You're not going to see one property there touched for over a year and a half, probably 2 years. because everything has to go to new code. And that's California is slow at everything. ADUs. You get a property or you want to put an ADU on, you're 18 months out from completion. I've been looking into all of it because I do mainly remodeling. And yeah, it's anything new, and then you have fire sprinkler, you have all kinds of other stuff that goes into it. It's a big deal. It's a lot of time.
The guy from Steadily was just on with Zuber. I was a part of that Zoom. He was the claims guy, and she was just on there talking about it.
I'm hoping that was recorded because I really want to see that.
It was. So he should. I'm not sure if he's going to have it exclusively posted to the school community or if it's going to go out on a YouTube video. I imagine he'll probably have it on a YouTube video.
Gotcha.
I can skip by to the permitting on the ADUs. I submitted my plans for an ADU in my primary. May of last year, they just got approved beginning of January.
Yep.
So that was like over 3 months just for permits to get
exactly. And then you had your school impact fees and everything else and tap ins and yeah, it's not cheap. Yeah, just before you even break down the ADU, you probably looked at 30-40 grand just to break ground.
I haven't even done anything, but
just for just for the school impact fees, just for the permitting, just for the sewer tap in, the water tap in, and the power tap in, all that stuff, you're talking 30-40 grand just to start.
It's an garage conversion, and I'm not adding any square footage.
Okay, so you're doing it.
I was able to pull permits and pay my architect for under 10K. So,
gotcha. So you're doing a junior ADU,
right?
Yes.
But still took 7 to 8 months for permitting, and then I'm not really doing any additions.
Yeah,
same structure.
And I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous. If it's that bad, raise your fees and get more employees. I mean, it's ridiculous. It shouldn't take that long.
It's bureaucracy.
Yeah,
really, it boils down to bureaucracy because it's all it is the planning department. Like I'm dealing with a commercial property, and I literally just want to reach through the phone and grab the lady by the throat because it's just like beating your head into a wall with trying to explain just like the use of a building, and she's so stuck on just like formalities and the specifics. Like she wants it black and white.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to the bureaucracies, they are so afraid of allowing or submitting approval on something that they don't want to go back on and realize that they screwed up. So and they don't care. They absolutely do not care about how long it takes them to do it, how many permits are submitted. They work at their own pace. They got a nice cushy position. They are just, and they're not, the municipalities are not going to add staff. And if they do, it's the same stupid crap with another person.
Yeah.
It's all about bureaucracy. They got to have 20 forms filled out. They got to have documentation that's 6 pages deep just on, just something that is very simple as adding a wall. It's just ridiculous. And then on top of that, they just continue to add more to it year after year because it's all about liability and use and all this stuff. And it's just like, it's unbelievable.
I love how Financial Firefighter puts a California. Hey, Hawaii's no better.
Nor is Washington.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got a 6 acre. We've been talking, Troy. You and I have been talking about these things I'm trying to do in Yosemite area, and I want this 6 acre piece of property, but to do my glamping and short term rental and stuff like that, it's going to cost me $40,000 to get a conditional use permit, and I have to buy the property to be able to put the application in for that, and that's going to take 2 years.
The sad thing is a lot of people, they do the old marketing strategy. They do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had to pull a permit for that.
Yeah.
Even though after the fact you put in water, septic, all these other things that, are legit, they're going to freak out, and then they'll threaten to have you pull it all out, because of it. And so it's one of those things, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line? The ugly truth to that is a simple fact that this is like when you go to sell and it's not permitted and stuff like that, and it gets called out in terms of an inspection, by a new buyer, that's where it becomes an issue, because especially when it comes on lending, the lending's like, well, that was never permitted. We can't provide lending on that. We'll give you to X amount, but that ADU or that DADU, that, offsite dwelling pad that you have or whatever, it's a lot of that stuff. Bottom line, doesn't matter in the end. It's like, where is it going to add value, and is a lender going to have an issue with it?
Well, yeah, then you're also not going to get insurance on it. If you don't permit it, your insurance claim is going to be denied.
That too. If they know about it.
Yeah. Well, they'll figure it out. The insurance companies will definitely figure it out.
Yeah, especially in California. It's interesting how you go to states that have less restrictions. The insurance company is like, oh, okay, and then the ugly part of the insurance problem, with that being said, is if you do have to file a claim on it, they will then say, well, that was never permitted, and then they won't provide you a claim on it, and that's the thing you have to be really careful about.
Yeah, after you've already been paying all those fees and everything else for those many years.
Oh yeah, yep.
Joey, do you mind sharing anything that you learned or impacted you from Subar's call, so we can get a little preview?
Give me a sec here. Can I come back? Can I circle back to this real quick? I'm in the middle of doing a delivery and I got to call a customer.
Oh, okay, sure. No worries.
Yeah, I was checking YouTube real quick to see if it's on.
Yeah. How about everybody else? Everybody else excited about this week, next week, or?
Oh, I can't wait to go to ORAAT. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Did you watch the Zuber with Brendan Turner?
You know what? I'm halfway on the interview, so I just caught it this morning.
That was a good one.
Yes. I still have like 30 minutes to go. I was so surprised when that came up on my feed. Like, I wasn't expecting Brenda Turner to come on One Rent at a Time.
Yeah.
Oh, Siley saying bye.
So do you have any new properties you're looking at?
Me particularly, no. I am at a halt right now because I need gas line and a duplex that I'm working on. I haven't been able to get a gas connection from the city for like a month now because it's sub-zero, not sub-zero, but like freezing temperatures over there in Gary right now. So nobody from the city is coming up to make the connection. But
what about changing it to a heat pump system? Smaller house?
The duplex. So it's like almost 3,000 square feet.
So, but that's 2 units, right?
Yeah, 2 units.
Yeah, you might want to look into a heat pump system. With the new ways they do them now, it is colder there. But if it's heavily insulated, you might want to look into that. See if there's any option for it. Because that's one of the things I'm going to probably be doing is not having it where I'm looking at propane with all the fires in California. I'm definitely going all electric.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll put in the energy saving appliances that will do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how Gary is. That's something I'm very interested to find out. So when you do know, let me know, because I'm looking at doing that type of thing too.
Yeah, Gary it's quite different. But I think we discussed going all electric, but I think it would be easier utility wise to keep it as gas.
Yeah, Rick says not sure the units would still be there. Gary's different. So I'm assuming that they might steal it from the outside.
Hey, that's true. We've had to put a cage around some of our condenser units outside in Gary. So,
Oh, yeah, no, I would do that. That's the first thing I would do.
if you can put a cage around the heat pump, I'm assuming there's some sort of way. But
Oh,
yeah,
there definitely is, because they have cages around the
AC units now.
yeah, the tankless water heaters and everything else too.
Mhm.
And we always put cages around the backflow systems because they try to steal the copper. Oh, we've had properties where they've actually. I had one property that we put the appliances in. That night they took them out. It had to close, so we had to go put the appliances back in the same day of close. But we've had lots of that. They come in, they tear out all the copper inside the house, and yeah, lots of it. And that's in our area. Different places.
Rick, what are you working on right now?
Lindsay, actually, I'm working on getting actually the one across the street from you. I think Van Buren, Unit 1 rented out again because we had that eviction, but now we have the property with Angelo. So we're just looking for a good tenant right now. So, looking to get cash flow going properties. It's, I only bought those 3 properties in Gary. I think we closed in August of last year. So, getting them stabilized basically.
Mhm. Yeah.
Did you go Section 8 or do you do normal?
Let's see. We have one Section 8 in one single family property there. And this one that we're trying to fill will go either way.
Yeah, Gary just really piques my interest just because it's easy. It's the cost is just there.
Yeah, it's low risk of
Yeah.
your capital to get in. Exactly.
Yeah, I gotta figure out a team. So you're both doing you have property managers?
Yeah. Sorry, Lindsay. I'm not sure if you want to take that one.
No, go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, Lindsay actually introduced me to her property manager there. Who's
Gotcha.
great. Yeah, he's really like one-stop shop for everything. He's great. So I can't thank her enough for that.
Yeah, if Lindsay, if you would allow it, or he or she, sorry, I would love that contact. But definitely ask them first.
No, that's totally fine. I think I haven't used the property manager, but he's a realtor who opened his property manager business now. And he's in the growing stage of that too, so he would more than likely
Yeah, I would love to
jump
talk.
on a call and talk to you for like an hour if needed.
Absolutely, I would love to talk to him because I'm really interested in that area. I'm going to get through the first couple that I'm looking at right now, and get them flipped, and then I'm going to definitely I'm going to fly out there probably in summertime to take a look at the area. Depending on if I get my money back, maybe even put a couple offers down. Because my thought was to buy 3 or 4 homes on the same street to try to improve that whole street. And then get that done. And I also want to buy one that I can actually do there's a couple areas that do have short-term rentals out there that are in that closer to the water. And I was thinking about popping a short-term rental there more for my use than anything else. That way I can go back there, I can do work, do whatever else, and then have a place to stay. And then I can short-term rental it when I'm not there. Because there's quite a few out there. I was surprised.
It's the Edna Miller Beach area, right?
Yep. Because that way, at least it's I can use it myself for going out there. But then the biggest thing is it's got some income coming in. That was my thought, but need to get out there to really see it first.
No, it is.
I'm going to go out there for the first time this March, so we'll see. But yeah, it's my understanding that they're doing quite a bit to Miller Beach to kind of rehab it.
Right.
So might be a good investment.
Yeah, and like I said, so that way I have a home base. That's what I'm really looking for. Because then I can gear up on some tools, get some secure area. Not real high-end tools. So I've already got a whole crap ton ripped off this year. But just get some basic stuff out there so I can go out there, get a team together, and really get it through. Because I can do everything and it looks like Gary's gonna be a lot easier for me to get another license there. I was looking at Carolinas, and they're more difficult, but I'm pretty sure I can get a transfer license in Gary, or it's real simple to get.
Yeah, that would be great. Then we have another boots on the ground.
Yeah. I'm not,
Gym.
yeah, I would go there just to do my own stuff, and then if I'm there, I'd contact people, say, hey, I'm here. But yeah. So I'd bring 2 or 3 of my own crew over there just for the first couple to make sure I know what I'm doing, and then introduce myself to a couple contractors. Say, hey, I'd like to work with some local people. I just need to make sure we gel.
Mhm. Carl, I don't think we spoke to you today.
Yes, I just asked a couple of questions, Lindsay.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you remember, I was the one who presented that property that Vincent, I think was you and Vincent were helping me on in Montgomery, Alabama.
Mhm.
I called the realtor there, and yeah, the problems that Vincent actually highlighted were actually the problems of that property, and that's why it's been on market for like, I don't know, 90 days or something. So the hunt continues. I'm still looking for my first one.
Mhm. What were the problems for that from fourplex, right?
Yes, so they're fourplex, 4 1 units specifically in Montgomery. So they've been having problems. It's a market problem. So usually the tenants in Montgomery are single family moms, right? So they're looking for at least two rooms, like 2 1s, and on all of the units were 1 1s. Yeah, and there was a water problem that I kind of discovered too on the property, and that's a big thing in Montgomery as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, I might be shifting now, and that's why I was asking Saley earlier about Michigan, because that was one of the 3 when I started this journey. That was one of the 3 markets I was looking at. Alabama, Ohio is the second one, and then the third one was Michigan.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the hunt continues. I'll keep you all posted.
Yeah, keep coming. Are you going to next week's conference?
I am not. I actually got to that party late, so I won't be able to join. But I definitely I'm looking forward to joining the next one for sure.
Okay. Yeah, we'll miss you, but you get to see us online, I think. No recording.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that one too.
Okay, guys, I actually have to get into a meeting at 9:30, so I'm gonna hop out. Any questions before we leave?
Nope. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. And just so everybody knows, next week we're not having the call.
Yeah, Vincent needs the logins to record too.
Thank you so much, everybody. Hope that you have a good weekend, Super Bowl weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good everyone. Bye.